music. Hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. And welcome for the first time to our new listeners, if we have any.
Nice to meet you. Where you been?
This is Silent Screaming
Resurrected. Oh, we had two different choices there.
Ooh, like a little duotone thing.
Ooh, yeah. I like it.
Yeah. We're a horror comedy ASMR movie review podcast where we get a little drunk, talk about our favorite horror movies, and use our theater degrees, I guess, for something.
That reminds me of that TikTok sound that's trending where it's like, all that work and what did it get me? Why did I do it?
It's like, I feel like that sound should have jazz hands with it, too.
For sure. Well, it's from Glee. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't realize that's what that was from.
Kurt's character sings that in Glee.
Apt. Wow. Today we're talking about the modern classic horror film, Hereditary, directed and written by Ari Aster.
I am so excited to talk about this movie.
Me too.
I have so many things I want to discuss. And I also have a lot of like fun things about Ari Aster that I didn't know. And we're going to have a little surprise game in the second part of this.
Jordan's surprising me too with the game. I don't even know what's happening.
Yes.
First, we are drinking a little cocktail. It's pretty basic. We just wanted tequila and some.
It's a tequila soda. It's like a tequila soda ranch water fusion.
Yeah, like a ranch water, a spicy little tequila ranch water. But it's in our new little Silent Screaming cups. I say that like we sell them. We don't. I just
purchase them now at silentscreamingshop.com.
No, it doesn't exist yet.
Not
Maybe
yet.
someday. No, I bought these on Etsy. They were really cute. They looked like a little upscale horror vibe. So.
Oh, that's good.
Is it?
I did. I went ahead and indulged myself.
We're gonna clink again.
Clink.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I think I made mine a little too strong.
Mine's clashing with the menthol cough drop I have in my mouth, but it kind
Jordan's
of
sickly or getting over a sickness.
I had the flu last week, hence why I was MIA.
Yeah, me just slowly scooting this way.
I don't think I'm contagious anymore.
No.
Just a little bit of a cough. I'm prone to bronchitis. Anytime I get sick, so like the cough usually lingers for a while. So I'm doing my best.
Did you have to?
You have to.
What have you been watching in the horror space?
Well,
or in general?
kind of a blessing in disguise. I had a lot of time last week while I was sick to watch movies. That's literally all I did. I actually had to take PTO. Like I could have worked from home, but I was so sick. I was like, I can't even. I didn't like really look at my phone. I just watched movies. So some of the things that I watched, some of these are rewatches. I rewatched Sinister, and because I know we talked about it on the show. It really is solid. Like it's still not like, to me personally, I don't think it's scary. I know a lot of people.
It was scary to me on first watch.
And a lot of people say that it's like one of their favorites and like because it was really scary. I think I like the creative part of it. I like the individual little clips of like the different murders. Anyway, it was just fun going back and revisiting that one. I also watched this new movie. It's kind of a comedy. It's called Who Invited Them? I think it's on Shudder is where I saw it. It's basically this couple, they move into this new home. There's some lore about how there were some murders in the house like 10 or 15 years before. These two random people show up to their housewarming party and things get a little weird. Kind of fun, kind of different. And then it's not really scary, but it's like kind of scary. I watched the new Haunted Mansion movie on Disney Plus.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
I actually really enjoyed it. I put it off because I heard it wasn't that great.
Yeah, I heard it was bad.
I thought it was good. But I also was like...
Low expectations.
I was on a lot of cough medicine. So who knows? And then I finally watched Thanksgiving. I know I'm like 4 months behind. I I thought it was fun. Yeah, it was a fun movie.
I think it's going to be a new cult classic.
You think? You say that about a lot of movies.
No, I don't. What else have I said that about?
You said that about Cocaine Bear.
But this one was like actually good.
I don't know if I would say it was good. It was enjoyable.
I think it was a campy classic.
Very campy. I don't know if I'd say classic. But we can disagree. I'm glad that you felt that way.
Can we?
Yeah, we can. That's kind of the beauty of the podcast.
Wow. I'm my only child, so disagreeing is something I'm still learning.
Learning to share you can add that to your New Year's resolutions.
It's only February. I have a lot of time to
You
keep
do.
not
You have like 10 more
sharing.
months. What about you? What have you been watching?
I only watched 2 like overtly horror films. I watched a movie called Consecration. When I had talked before about looking for the Jenna Malone Nun movie, I tried to find it, but I found something different. But this time I actually watched the Jenna Malone Nun movie. It was okay.
Just okay.
It was fine. I mean, like, it wasn't super revolutionary. It had some interesting plot twists, but overall, I feel like I had kind of figured it out pretty quickly.
Okay.
And it just wasn't scary. I don't think it was really supposed to be that scary either, though. But it was more like a thriller.
Okay.
And then I watched a movie called The Passenger. It was a movie on Shudder that's in Spanish. And it felt like Evil Dead meets an alien movie. And it wasn't good.
Okay.
It's about like these people who are in a van who discover like this alien wreck. And like if you touch the goo, it turns you into a demon basically, or like an alien thing. It acts like a Evil Dead demon. It wasn't that great. It was gory, but not in like a great way. And then I watched, I think it was called The Villains, which was Bill Skarsgård.
I love that movie. Yes.
Yes,
And
Bill
the girl.
Skarsgård, and then the girl from It Follows.
Yes.
And Kira Sedgwick, who I love, and then the dad, whose name I don't remember his real life name.
That movie's so good.
It's very good.
Very underrated.
It was like a very good thriller. The aesthetic of the movie was really great. I feel like the acting is top notch, and it has some really good gore and some really good like plot twists.
And it seems like it was made on a reasonably low budget too.
Yeah.
But like it didn't need a whole lot. Like it was very.
It was kind of a one-hander because it was. I mean, it wasn't. It was.
I love a good
multiple
one-hander.
people, but
Why use 2 hands when one hand do trick?
one hand do trick. Oh my god. Well, and I did also watch in preparation for this episode and the next episode, which tune in next week for our episode on Midsummer. For Ari Aster, I watched his first short film.
Oh my god, I was gonna ask you about that.
Did you watch it?
There's something about the Johnsons or
Yes.
whatever? Yes.
Oh
I was gonna ask you about
my
that.
god.
Well,
Trigger warning, by the way, if you don't do anything.
huge trigger warning.
I think this was his most disturbing film.
Well, I didn't know this, but like Ari Aster, he did solely shorts. Like he only did shorts. I think.
Yeah, this was his first full length.
Yeah, Hereditary was his first full length, and yeah, there's something wrong with the Johnsons. I saw a TikTok maybe a year or two about like whatever you do, don't go and watch it. So obviously, like
Immediately watched it.
oh my god,
I watched it today
It's
while I was working, and I was literally
fucked up. It made me physically ill to my stomach.
it's horrifying. It deals with, it's not a horror movie. I mean, I think it kind of is. It deals with the issue of like sexual abuse in a family, but the Ari Aster always has to subvert our expectations, and it was just fucking bonkers and horrifying and a really just disturbing 30 minutes
really
that
fucked up.
I don't think should ever be. I think it needed to be a short. It didn't need to be any longer.
No, right. Well, it kind of makes me curious about his other short films because that's really like the only one that I'm familiar with. So
Yeah,
I'm like,
same.
how messed up are the other ones? And it kind of reminded me like the same, not like the same format, but maybe like the same style cinematically of Midsummer. Is like you have like these bright, vivid colors.
A lot of happy imagery,
Yeah.
wedding and
Sunshine, like it's really nice and pretty, but then like the undertone is like very dark and gross and gritty and like ugh.
Yep.
So
truly insane.
yeah.
But yeah, that's all I've really watched. That's it. That's all she wrote. I did start Beau is Afraid, but I didn't finish it yet because
I have not had like the bandwidth to start it.
I've only watched the first like 20 minutes and I'm already like, what the fuck?
You know, Ari Aster has a short film just called Beau.
Yeah, I saw it on his IMDb
I'm
list.
wondering if it's like based on the same character.
The one thing it was kind of funny, but it's like also one of those like tropes that you hear about from, you know, like when you're going to bed at night and you like live in a 2-story house or something and you like shut the light off and you have to like run up the stairs so the thing doesn't get to you. There's a scene right at the beginning of Beau is Afraid where he's like coming home to his apartment and there's a man like waiting for him with like tattoos and like red eyes. And he like just has to run for his door because the man's like chasing him and he shuts the door and the man's like, dang it. He's like literally being chased by this.
I feel that way when I come home like from outside. I'm like, someone's behind me, especially at night. And I think not just because not only women feel this way, but I think also like as a woman, you just
extra. There's more validity if you're a woman, probably, that someone's hiding to do something.
Yeah, well, you hear about it all the time, and you're just like, one of these days it's gonna be me.
It's just a matter of time, Jordan.
It's only a matter of time. Cool, because I had a nightmare one time, and everyone says it's impossible to die in your dream. Have you ever died in your dream?
I think I have.
Mason tells me all the time, it's physically impossible to die in your dream because if you die in your dream, you die in real life. I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. First of all, I didn't know you were a dream expert. But second of all, I've had a dream where I died. I was like stabbed in a Walmart parking lot and I died. So don't tell me that my dreams are not real. Well, anyway, I'm convinced that that's how I died in a previous life. So
don't tell me what I can and can't do.
Don't kill my dreams. So we're going to be talking about the movie. Oh, God. That's actually a great segue into this game. We're going to be talking about the movie Hereditary. And there's an iconic sound that goes along with it. Mm-hmm. And it's the famous tongue click. So.
It's very Alyssa Edwards of them. I can't do hers.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
No, nobody can. That's why.
I wonder what Alyssa Edwards thought when she saw this movie. Was she like, those bitches?
I feel like that's like more like the front of the mouth though. Like,
yeah, hers is something I physically
hers
can't
is like
do.
in the back, like yeah, I don't know. Hers, yeah,
it's
that was
really
pretty
loud,
good.
but I can't do it.
Just like Hereditary, there are a lot of other movies that have a signature sound.
Ooh.
So I'm going to attempt to either make the sound or describe the sound, and you're gonna rapid fire tell me the horror movie associated it.
I like sounds.
I will say some of them I couldn't find sounds, so some of them might be like a famous catchphrase, just for the length of the game.
We're gonna call this segment "Silly Sounds with Jordan."
Ooh, this reminds me of VeggieTales.
That's what I was trying.
Oh, well, you had to say it in the accent. And now, silly songs with Larry.
Silly sounds with Jordan Gridell.
Okay, ready? Mm-hmm. As fast as you can.
Oh God.
Dun-dun.
Jaws. Grudge. Conjuring.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Scream. Psycho. Hereditary.
I see dead people.
Sixth Sense. Friday the 13th.
Ooh, that was good. 7 days.
The Ring.
They're here.
Poltergeist.
Oh, yeah. I want to play a game.
Saw.
Red Rum.
The Shining.
Wow, good job.
Oh, is that all of them? Wow.
Yeah,
that was like so easy.
That was pretty easy. I couldn't, there's not really a whole lot of iconic, at least ones that don't have like songs, like a theme song. Like, I still get Saw, Exorcist, and Halloween's like theme songs confused.
I get it. That makes sense.
They're all like the same, like 4 keys. Well, we're going to take a short break.
Then we'll be right back
Hereditary. All I'm doing. Wow, that was juicy.
I started coughing on it. Oh my God.
Wow.
Gargling with tequila. And we're back to talk about Hereditary, again, directed and written by Ari Aster, starring the incredibly talented Toni Collette.
Love Toni.
Fucking love her. Underrated actress of the century. Also Millie Shapiro, who's fantastic in this. Alex Wolff, who... Did you know that me, Alex, and Toni Collette have the same birthday?
Do they really?
We're all born on November 1st.
Oh my God.
1101 babies.
All stars.
And then Gabriel Byrne and Ann Dowd, who's a small part in this, but man, is she
huge role,
an
though.
Impactful actress in
Always.
Everything she's
she
in.
She really is.
The other day I said when I was watching it to Brandon, I was like, she makes everything she's in perfect except for The Exorcist Believer, which wasn't her fault.
It wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fault.
But what are your... Think back to when you first saw Hereditary. What were your first
impressions? We went to see it together.
I remember. We did.
Oh my God. Trauma.
Traumatic.
We went and saw this movie together when it first came out in the theaters. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm pretty sure it was a packed theater. This was still when it was kind of first come, first serve,
2018,
right?
yes.
So they didn't have
assigned seating.
Yeah, the assigned seats. We were in the very back top row corner.
Wow, you really remember where we were?
I'm telling you, the scene where the scene, you know what we're talking about. My mouth was wide open for at least the rest of the movie because
I feel like I didn't breathe again after that happened.
I was speechless. I was speechless. It was a great movie up until then. It was one of those movies where the trailer didn't really give you a whole lot. You knew the vibe, and you obviously you knew it was a scary movie, but you didn't know the plot really.
It's giving the first Barbarian kind of trailer.
Yeah. So you didn't know they actually showed what is Millie's character's name?
Charlie.
Charlie, yes, thank you. They showed Charlie in a lot of the trailers. So there was
she's the main person on the poster.
Yeah,
there she is.
She's in so Collette. I just didn't realize that she didn't make it for the majority of the movie. So initial thoughts, I absolutely loved it. This is one of those movies where I still will watch it at least once a year and love it every single time. I was rewatching it again last week, and Mason was like, "Didn't you just watch this?" I'm like, "Shut up, leave me alone." It's so good. I mentioned this in a recent episode. It's still top 3 of movies of in my opinion of all time. I just go back to it every single time. Love it. Honestly, no notes.
Nope.
Actually, I do have a couple notes, but we'll get into it.
We'll get into there.
Overall, honestly, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. There are some scenes that I'm I guess because I've seen it before, I'm okay, skip ahead. What do you think?
I felt the same way. I was really shocked when they killed, again, spoilers if you haven't seen it, which you should. It's really good. And it's been out for a while, so you don't have an excuse. When they killed Charlie, that scene was just so visceral and horrifying and so believable. What he does in shock when she dies. So I actually looked at the trivia on IMDb, and I know you looked at some trivia as well, but apparently that segment is kind of based on a true story.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Where there was a man who was killed in a drunk driving accident where him and his friend were both very drunk, and he was, I think, beheaded as well by hanging out a window. And his friend, instead of his friend knowing it happened and being in denial about it, he was just so drunk that he just continued to drive, went home and went to bed, and didn't even realize there was a dead person in the back of his car or the side of his car, wherever he was sitting. But
I think I don't know if he was in the front or the back, but I guess they were driving home drunk, and his friend put his head out of the window to puke. And then the driver was so drunk he didn't notice that his friend didn't have a head anymore and went inside and slept.
Yep.
But I liked the impact that scene had because I feel we kind of just got a glimpse of what it would be to be the driver. In shock. Nope. You're I'm not gonna actually acknowledge. Your brain cannot
process that.
No.
Yeah, and I also usually in horror movies I hate when they hold back and don't show you something. For instance, when Toni Collette goes downstairs the next morning and discovers that her daughter does not have a head and she's in the car, you don't see any of that. It's all just audio. And this was one of those moments where I was that was more disturbing. to not see her and just hear her discovering. And then it does show the head, and it's horrifying and disgusting, and they linger on it for a very long time because they want you to be
disgusted and
horrified, which you are. And that's why I think that Toni Collette is so underrated. That's where it really starts, is the way that she demonstrates grief in this movie is just like so visceral and so realistic.
It's raw. No, yeah, and it's honest, and I don't think anybody that I will always say this, like, losing. I don't have children, but the worst.
You don't?
No, I don't. In case you didn't know, well, my fur baby is our children, so basically.
Okay, fucking millennial.
You lost my train of thought.
You were saying I don't have children.
Okay. The worst thing on this earth, I think, is losing a child.
Yes.
Like, there's not, like, I cannot imagine something worse. And I think so many times in movies, like, they just don't, like, they don't get it right.
She gets it right.
She gets it right. And we'll talk about this in our next episode because, like, we're going to be talking about Midsommar. But I feel like Florence Pugh also does the same thing when she loses her family. Like, there's just something, like, their acting. I think if anyone else were to do that role, like, it just wouldn't have been the same. Because, like, it's almost like she can't breathe. She is in so much pain. And, like, you feel that. And I totally agree. I think it was a very effective way to demonstrate grief.
It's getting loud.
That's just.
Oh, well.
It's my bubbling.
My bubbles. Also, I watched an interview with Toni Collette recently where she talks about the process of making this movie, and apparently they did almost no rehearsal.
Oh, really?
Which is, and this is, we're trained in theater. I can't comprehend how you turn out a performance like this, just like.
Did you know that Alex Wolff, who plays Peter, and then the dad, and then, well, even Charlie, I believe, they've all worked on projects prior to this together, like little things, right? So they came into this process kind of already knowing each other and, like, having that rapport. So Toni Collette's character, like, Toni Collette, she had no idea, like, yeah, it worked for the film because she really did feel like
an outsider the whole time.
She was like an outsider, and so I think that dynamic really helped, like, in their acting.
Yeah, that was a big piece of it, I think, was they needed to have, like, this inherent mistrust of their mom the whole time, or the son at least did. But yeah, I think that was a big part of it, and I also think that Ari Aster, like, his directing and his writing, like, really, I think, gave them the tools to, like create these fleshed out characters. Because one, I saw in the trivia that he, like, had already, like, planned out the entire schematics of how the thing was going to be shot. He had shot lists. He had detailed diaries for all of the main characters that he gave to them. And I think it was just very clear. And the screenplay was written way long ago. Like, he knew exactly what he wanted for all of these characters. That is so
crazy. Like, I really can't imagine the amount of time that it took for him to write diaries for each individual character.
It's insane. He's so meticulous, and I think that's what makes him so good. I like having a director who, you know, this was his first feature film, and, like, he didn't put out a bunch of shit to give us a diamond. And it was already a masterpiece because it was so thoughtful and so, like, well crafted.
Yeah.
And if you watch clips of him directing this, like, I saw some behind the scenes stuff, he, like, just looks like someone who really knows what he wants and what he's doing the whole time.
I want to just, like, be in his brain.
Yeah. I think Toni Collette said that this was, like, working with him was working with one of the most prepared directors she's ever seen.
But I love that. Like, I would, if I was going to be on, like, the cast and crew of any movie, I would want it to be on his film because, like, I feel like he's done all the homework for us. Like, he has made everybody's job so much easier by just, like, being prepared.
Yeah.
And just efficient. And
so efficient.
I love it. A couple of things that, like, I saw that it was originally supposed to be a drama.
Right.
He like wrote it and he got to the end and then he apparently was like, oh no, this needs to be a horror movie. Mm-hmm. Which I think is really interesting. But also I can't remember if that was before or after, but in Australia, they accidentally played the trailer for Hereditary in a theater full of parents and kids for the movie Peter Rabbit.
Perfect.
And all the parents like rushed their children out of the theater and like demanded to speak with the manager. First of all, I am so glad I was not the manager that day.
That would be so bad.
That I would have cried.
I would have quit.
But also like start them young, you know? Like I was watching horror movies when I was like 3. So like,
yeah.
And I turned out fine.
No, honestly,
Like,
it's a big lie. This was a big marketing ploy. Peter Rabbit, the main character's name is Peter.
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
Rabbit, he's kind of sacrificed like a little bunny rabbit.
Get you in the headlines.
Yeah,
I
was
think
all a ploy.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that.
One of the things I noticed this time around, like I think this is one of those horror movies where it gives you a lot of Easter eggs throughout about where it's leading if you have already seen it before. In the scene in the group therapy setting where Toni Collette goes after her mom has passed away to get some grief counseling with other people, she talks about her life and she does her whole life story about how her mom has dissociative identity disorder and did a lot of wild things to her family and basically had shut her out. And I know she also had an older brother who had committed suicide at 16 because his mom kept trying to put people inside of him. That was what his suicide note had said, which shows you that this whole plot of them trying to find a vessel for this demon Payman, the grandma had already attempted it once with her son, and he had said, no, thank you, and had pieced out, which is one of the confusing elements because we like have talked about this before where we're not we're not sure at what point in Charlie's life Payman became part of her.
Yeah, I really think she was born Payman. I'm wondering if Payman was like inhabiting another vessel and then that vessel died. And then that was kind of like along the time where, you know, Annie, Toni Collette's character, was pregnant. And so then the grandmother was like, I have the perfect solution. Yeah. And they were hoping maybe that it would be a boy and it turned out to be a girl. And I don't know. I think that
like this will just be a holdover until we can get you the boy's body.
Yeah, because otherwise it doesn't, because like if Charlie was born and then they put Payman in her body, like it doesn't make sense because why wouldn't you just put it in a male vessel? Because that's kind of was the whole point.
Also, Payman, you a sexist.
You sexist. What's wrong with women's bodies? Women's bodies are superior, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We can endure more.
That's true. That's true, except for heads hitting telephone poles, apparently. So.
Well, I think that's just like
that
the human. Alex Wolff, who plays the son, we saw that there were some like fun facts about him, like really being like wanting to be like that method actor and took the role very seriously. One of the things that I saw is like during the scene where he's in class and he like that iconic scene where he bangs his head into the desk. He told Ari Aster, he was like, I'm fine with like actually breaking my nose. Like if I need to break my nose, I'll do it.
And Ari was like, no, bro,
he's like, no. Like that sounds like a liability for me. So what they did is they cushioned his desk. And he just like went full force and like slammed his face into the desk, but he still ended up dislocating his jaw.
Yeah,
which is wild.
It
was still a desk at the end of the day. Yeah, so like he really went for it. He really like, and I mean props, but like also like as an actor, like you kind of have to know when to draw the line, right?
Yeah. He was pretty method in this though, which I never love a method thing because I don't feel like it's necessary. Like, I mean, I don't want to shit all over someone's creative process, but he had everyone on set call him Peter. And at the end of shooting, after he did his last shot, he introduced himself to the cast, I believe, as Alex Wolff.
Oh my God. That would have given me the ick. I'm not going to lie. I would have been like, okay, all right, get over yourself.
Well, he's had some like TikToks since. I don't know if you've seen the ones where he talks about how fucking annoying it is because people will just come up to him and be like,
no, but that would be annoying. I feel like anytime you're in such like a successful movie, like people are going to yell out certain lines or like phrases or call you by that character's name. I feel like that's just kind of like the nature of the business.
And at first he was really like, I was like, so annoying because he's like really pissy about it. But also at the same time, you're right. It is annoying for everyone and their mother to come up to you and be like,
I could think of a lot worse things that people could do or say to him.
Yeah. It's kind of like unrelated completely, but Nicole Byer, who's one of my favorite comedians, every time she does stand up, a lot of times if she has a joke go well, people in the audience would be like, nailed it. Which after the 45th person doing that, I would be committing murder.
I would just put a disclaimer at the beginning of the show. Like, if I say a joke that makes you laugh and you say nailed it, just know you're not creative and you're not funny.
No.
And
I know I was on that show. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, thank you. Some other like fun facts about the movie is I know we talk about how Ari Aster does a lot of like practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
One of the many things that he did was like for the beheading scene for Toni Collette's character when she's in the attic.
She's wearing a prosthetic neck.
She's wearing a prosthetic neck, and I thought that was, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but like, I saw that fact before I watched the scene, and like, it's unclockable, as the children say.
Unclockable.
Unclockable. Like,
no cap?
No cap on God, for real, for real.
Jesus Christ.
I
hate
it's
us.
just so,
that was
it
so
just
fucking
looks
millennial
so
of us.
good. And like, I know you're wearing a Terrifier shirt. I love Terrifier. We've talked about this. Go watch our episode on the Terrifier. But like,
or Terrifier 2, both of them.
Or Terrifier 2. You can tell when a prosthetic is used in that movie.
Yeah,
I think it's borderline intentional.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like hokey.
But like, this is like, oh my God, movie magic. I don't know how they did it. It's so good.
Yeah. How did she get in that attic?
I asked the same thing. The window? No, because the window's not
closed.
broken.
Maybe there's 3 old people standing behind her, or behind him. Maybe they just like opened for her real quick.
Maybe.
You just didn't see her
but
hear it
he like
happen.
locked it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, dunk, 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 on her head on the door.
Must have just been a demon thing where she was able to float. Or maybe she went through like an air vent or something.
I wondered that too. Like, that doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. How does she get up there? There was a few little things like that where I was like, wow, how did that happen? I'm sure there's an explanation. I'm sure Ari could give you a whole dissertation about how she got up there.
I'm sure. And I'm sure he's already thought about it. But like, you know, we see her like climbing on the walls and like things like that. So like maybe it.
I just had a thought.
What's the thought?
Maybe it's too woo-woo, but
well, it's a demon movie.
Go with me
okay.
here. So the prevailing imagery of this movie and the way that a lot of the scenes are shot is like a model home or a doll's house, because Annie's character is a model maker, whatever that's called.
Miniaturist.
What if the demon Payman and the other demons interact with the world of this movie like a doll's house?
Oh.
And they just picked her up and put her in there.
Ooh.
Because that also makes sense, because the way that
possibilities.
before they're inside of someone, they travel with that light, you know?
Yeah.
They could just literally be like shining a light. In
Yeah.
a
I mean, how did
house.
any of those people get in the house?
That's true. How did they? I think they had a key, but.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Also, fuck them. Why did the dog have to die?
We need to stop doing that. Stop killing animals in horror movies. Like, it's not cool anymore.
It's not okay.
It doesn't give like that, like, it doesn't give the same effect as it used to. So just stop it, because it really, it hurts me I think I lose a day off my life every time I have to see that. But speaking of the house, like the whole house was a soundstage. They created that whole thing.
Yeah, in order for the doll house shots, I think it made sense. Like they had to be able, and also speaking of dollhouse movement things, the way that she kind of climbs on the wall kind of looks like someone just like picking her up and like moving her along a wall or something, because it doesn't really make sense. It's like,
yeah, she was like spider monkeying.
She's like floating but also crawling at the same time. I noticed that this time it's like there's no noise, it's completely silent, but she's also like doing this, like she's touching the wall. Very fascinating.
You might have a point there. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm sure he had a reasoning. I want to like go and watch interviews, because I'm sure he probably explains some of this.
I'm sure.
I think I've asked you this before. But if you lost a loved one, would you be open to having a seance to try to communicate with them?
No.
Oh. No? Not even a pet?
No. Especially not a pet. You crazy?
I don't know. I would.
One, what would they say to me? Arf, arf? Meow.
I think the spirits can communicate in your language. They have Duolingo.
Yeah, no, that's how they get you. That's how a demon is like, oh, don't mind if I do walk through this open door that you just created for funsies in your living room.
Like, and talk to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that movie, completely, I love it. Completely unrealistic premise for me, because would never.
I would. I'm so dumb. I would.
I would grab that hand, I'd see the thing, and I'd immediately be like, mm-mm.
I think once I see the thing, that's not the thing I'm trying to communicate with, I would probably do the same. But I just believe in an afterlife so much that if I'm really that desperate to communicate with a loved one that is no longer here, I feel like I would really like try it.
I mean, I don't think I really believe in demons anyways, but I
think I do.
I don't know.
I do.
I don't think so. But I believe in an afterlife. So maybe, I don't know. I want to hold out that slight sliver of me that's like, maybe that's a real thing that could come through and like not give them that opportunity.
Well, they prey on the people that don't believe. So you would be like,
and then tell
them
that I totally believe in them.
No, you said it. It's recorded.
I don't remember saying that. Fake
what do you
news.
mean?
Fake news. Is that everything? I think we covered a lot really quickly.
We did cover a lot. I'll just wrap it up with saying, still one of my favorite horror movies. This one is a classic.
If you liked this podcast, you can follow us on Instagram or TikTok at silentscreamingpodcast.com. You can also email us at
silentscreamingpodcast@gmail.com.
That's the one. I don't know why I said .com for the socials. Brain's not working. You can also...
You just said email us, so I'm not going to repeat it.
Rate, review, and subscribe.
Oh.
Sorry, I did it in a weird order tonight.
You can rate, review, and subscribe. Leave us some love. Leave us some hate. We don't care. We take all of it.
Don't give us a 1-star rating. If you're going to leave us hate, go leave the hate comments on TikTok or Instagram or email them to us.
But also, if you're going to leave a hate comment, repost the video. Like, at least do that.
Do us
like,
a
don't be fucking lazy. And yeah, like, give us feedback. We love feedback. But like, on our email, don't be like too harsh, you know what I mean, on social media, because like
we're still people, we still have fifis.
We have fifis. We're just doing our best. This is a passion project.
I'm just a baby.
Fun. We're just babies. So give us some love.
We're just 30-plus-year-old babies.
I'm just a 31-year-old teenager. What do you want from me?
It's so true. But don't drink and podcast, and have a good day, night, morning, whatever you're doing.
Cheers.